it was funny when I was talking about editing things out. That's usually just for me and Ralphie saying things that embarrass ourselves. So yeah, it's nice to have, as you know, nice to have the editing control a little bit. So yeah. Well, Cornell, welcome, man. We kind of introduced you a little bit already to all the anybody's here, but Ralphie has told me a lot about you, kind of your grind in the landscape game, in the podcast game. I'm interested to kind of get inside your mind a little bit. But first of all, thanks for joining us over here at HQ, man.
No problem, brother. I'm happy to be here. This is cool.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. So we've come a long way from Ralphie's kitchen table. As he said, he used to not even have to wear pants during these things. And now we moved him down here and put him on video. So we upped it a little bit. But no, man, I guess first, how do you know Ralphie? How did we get you on this show?
Damn, me and Ralph grew up together. We went to, my name's Cornell. We went to Cornell Middle School.
How about that? Yeah. Ralph would say that's the simulation that we live in right there. Yeah,
No
right?
doubt.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's how I met Ralph, though. I mean, he was like the coolest dude that wasn't, he didn't live where I lived. You know what I mean? I grew up down in Harrison Village most of the time. But Ralph was like one of the cool dudes.
How much he pay you before you walked up here, bro?
Got it, bro.
No,
Ralph was just like, swear, bro. He was just like the cool dude that was cool with everyone. It didn't matter who you was, popular or unpopular. Ralph was like, he was cool with you, so.
I believe that.
Yeah.
And we got to get something you talked about off mic, on mic, just because, and again, this is probably something I'll have to edit out, but you guys played football together, and you said Ralph had some memorable swag on the football field,
Yeah,
right?
man. 7th and 8th grade football, our team was unbelievable, 7th and 8th grade football. But
that 8th grade team was the sickest. Terry Ross was one of the sickest athletes.
Unbelievable. Him and Sharon Moy.
Yeah.
And Sharon Moy. But yeah, no, Ralph, in 7th grade, Ralph had he played defensive tackle, and he had a punter's face mask.
Dude, I just imagine, because I know I've seen pictures of Ralphie when he was that age and how big he, like, that to me, if I'm an offensive lineman, that's terrifying to see. Like, some huge nose tackle with the punter's face mask. Like, you know this motherfucker's crazy.
I was late on equipment day. I think, man, a funny story. I remember missing, I was sick one day and missed a practice. I came in the next day, my knee pads are gone. I'm like, my knee pads. I seen Cadell Shaw with double knee pads on. I'm like, hey, yo. And then my knee pads, he's like, nah. I'm like, the fuck, man?
Dude, I got a story like that too. When I was a freshman at Alderdice, there was like 2 locker rooms, and if you didn't get a locker, you just had to leave your shit out, and like people would go, like if you had nicer stuff, they just go through your shit. So I remember first day of high school, going into Alderdice, coming from this little private Catholic school, I got this huge hockey bag of football equipment, my helmet, my pads, because I'm like, I'm not letting anybody steal my shit, and I didn't have a locker. Set off the metal detector. They got the security guard yelling at me. She goes, "White boy, you trying to blow up my school day one?" Like, it was just like some classic early 2000s shit that I was like, oh, it's so right. Everybody just gank your shit if it was just out
the
in
holy
open.
grail, though, of 7th and 8th grade football was the Dickerson face mask.
Oh, the Eric Dickerson.
That Dickerson face mask.
That was the one with the little bull ring?
I had the 2 lines here and then the 2 lines in the middle.
Yeah, okay.
Like the running back face mask. Eddie George had that thing. Everybody wanted that, bro. Hey, if you left that helmet sitting down.
See you never. I had the Beaker face mask just with the giant line down the middle.
Thurman Thomas.
Yeah, exactly. Make you go cross-eyed and shit, just like looking at it.
Gary Anderson during that time.
Yeah.
Just a one. It was like
playing with no shoe on. Like,
I remember I would wear forearm pads just because
I had those too. Bro, because I swear I love youth football and youth sports and all that shit, but it is so dependent on coaching. And I had some great coaches, but like I remember being offensive lineman and just being like taught to block with your forearms up like this, just coming home so bruised. I was like, this can't be the right way to do this. There's got to be a better way to do this. Yeah. Well, Cornell, a lot of the anybody's know Ralphie kind of started landscaping not too long after 8th grade football. Is that something similar for you? Were you always doing it from a young age?
Hell no.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
The only time I did landscaping was for my gram. She was sick in the bed, and from when we was little, even when she wasn't sick, we was doing gardens and things like that. But it was I didn't see no purpose in it. Like I wanted to go play sports. I didn't want to be gardening.
It was just more of a chore at that point.
Cutting grass. That's all it was. And then I bought a house in 2016, and I was walking around one day I was drinking a beer. I had a Miller High Life, the 24 ounce joint.
We'll take that sponsorship. Yeah, we don't got any allegiances yet.
Right. But I was walking around the house. It was the springtime. I moved in my house in December of 2015. No, 16, whatever. But I had moved into my house in the winter. So now it's the springtime. Things are starting to grow and everything. There was weeds growing like in the mulch bed, and I was walking past, sipping this High Life, and I seen this weed like popping out, and I looked at it and I just kept walking like I would do anybody else.
Right. Yep.
But then it hit me like, this is my crib. Like if I don't pull this weed, who's gonna pull it?
Right. Exactly.
So I pulled the weed, and as soon as I did that, I just looked up at the sky, because my gram, she ain't here with us no more. But I looked up at the sky, and right at that point, I was just like, yo, I get it. Like, I get why she took so much pride in making sure we kept the yard clean and the hedges cut and the weeds pulled and tended to the garden. At that moment, it like all hit me right then. Like, damn, my gram was putting something in me that even at that point, I didn't know I was gonna start a business with it yet.
Right.
But that's the first time I was like, yo, I'm gonna take pride in my property.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And up until that point, I was a renter.
Okay, and maybe it wasn't like a house or something, but were you someone who was always like that with your stuff, whether it was your shoes, your toys as a kid, the car? Were you always that detail oriented, or is it that moment that kind of it all clicked and maybe you started from there?
So I wouldn't say I was detail oriented in that type of stuff. I was detail oriented in like sports.
Okay, right.
So my favorite player, of course, Michael Jordan. They had the fundamentals. You watch people like Tim Duncan, or even the baseball players or the football players, the people who are the most fundamentally sound, if they already have talent, they're the best. You know what I mean? That's their attention to detail. So I had an attention to detail, like when it came to being fundamentally sound I played basketball. That was my main sport, but like at that. So that's kind of where I got being detail oriented more so from that than, nah, bro, I don't. My truck is a mess.
Yeah. See, that's how I am too, where I'm like, Ralphie and I are so particular about the pod and the show and editing, how it comes out and all that. But like, Ralphie is way more organized than I am, but like my desk is a mess over there. Like,
get the fuck out of here. You come with Cliff Notes with the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, but again, I guess that's my point.
I come in with no plan every time, just something I think of real quick.
Right, but that's kind of like the Shaq Kobe aspect of it, right? Like the pick and roll. It's like you work better in freestyle, I work better with a little bit of. But that's my thing. I come with show notes, but my car is a mess, dude. Like my crib, thank God for my girl, like she's all like helps me be better at on top of that. But I'm always thinking about like why can't I be like that in all of my aspects of life? You know what I mean?
Well, I think that over the years we all have developed ADHD.
For sure.
We're all in our phones all the time. We were younger, you had to be focused on something for a period of time to make sure that thing got done. And now
100%.
People are so they can multitask so well that our attention is on a whole bunch of different things. So it's the stuff, what I understand now is the things that I truly have a passion for, ultra organized.
Right.
Everything's organized. If I don't really care about it too much, it don't matter. So I don't care about my truck being immaculate and clean. It's a work truck, and it's what I drive every day. I know where everything's at.
Right.
So it doesn't matter to me if someone gets in my truck and they don't see the
organized chaos or whatever.
Right,
yeah,
chaos.
right.
So I think that's really what it is you care about your podcast. So that's why you're able to be organized.
And that's so interesting. I've been thinking a lot about that, like attention span, ADHD, whatever. Like I vividly can remember as a kid when that like started to change for me, because I remember I made the little whatever dude cave in the basement as a kid, had 2 TVs set up down there, like one on top of one, and one was always hooked up to the video game and one was always on the TV. You know what I mean? So I think back to that, and that now it's like I got 6 different screens on with 6 different things sometimes. You know what I mean? Where it's like my girl's watching a show, I'm in here cooking, I got the game on in here. I kind of, and we do as a society now, or people, everybody's got their hands in a ton of different pies now, right? But to your point, it's really interesting. The ones that you care about, you are detail oriented, you're organized. Those are the ones I guess you realize are more of a priority to you, which makes sense. Sounds so simple.
I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was in first grade.
Really?
Yeah.
You might be the first diagnosed case in the port at that point.
First guinea pig of Ritalin. They gave me Ritalin, and I took myself off it. I think we talked about this before. I took myself off in the 5th grade, and I don't remember 5th grade at all. Like, I guess I was going through, like, crystal meth withdrawals a bit.
Yeah, I hope
and
not.
then, like, in 6th grade, I gained like 100 pounds that summer going into 6th grade when I went to Cornell that year. Yins met me as like a fat dude. The year before, I was like a little skinny hooper and shit. I couldn't even make the hoop team at Cornell.
Wow.
But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not blaming it on Ritalin, but I am.
Didn't help you.
Well, I will say I didn't know the whole time, so I struggled in school.
I look at that as like, fuck it. Like at the same time, like, let me be creative. Maybe I wasn't meant to learn about fucking history books and things like that. Let me learn how to read, and maybe I'll do some artistic shit.
Right, but that's because school isn't built to. Yeah, it's not built to help you accentuate your talents. Yeah, it's built to teach you
9 to 5.
9 to 5. Like, this is the biggest amount of people, or we're not going to have a whole bunch of dreamers, but so let's make them all workers. Yeah. Right, and then you have to cut through all of that.
That is the simplest.
You have to reprogram yourself as you grow up, and your imagination starts to expand. Hopefully, you didn't screw yourself over by not learning the things that are actually important in life, like money management and all of these other things that actually help you in life. Me and Ralph was talking. He's like, man, I ain't used fucking algebra my entire adult life, and that's true. Because he ain't a mathematician. Right. But
I always say the best advice I got from any teacher came from fucking Mr. Grayson in like 6th or 7th grade. And it was always tell people you love them. If you love them, tomorrow's not promised. Wear deodorant and simple shit like that. That's all the same stuff. Like that shit was like boom, like impactful. Don't fucking wear condoms. Be safe.
Hell of a 6th grade teacher. This guy.
Mr. Grayson,
unreal,
the best,
bro.
the best human being ever.
Yes, I agree.
But him and what other teacher? Man, that's it. That's the most impactful shit I got from a teacher was Mr. Grayson, and he's a gym teacher.
So you said like he was diagnosed. I didn't know. So I struggled all throughout school. I was really good at sports. So a lot of times when you're good at sports, you're not going to get made fun of from people if you're not excelling in the classroom, right? So I was in the classroom a lot of times. People wouldn't know because I was confident because I was good at sports, and in the key sport that mattered. You know what I mean? Yep. But I wasn't I wouldn't say I was smart, and so I struggled in school because I just couldn't focus because this wasn't important to me, man.
Right. Back to your original point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I grew up like, well, I got to go pick up my brother. I'm 12 years old. I got to go pick my brother and sister up from daycare after basketball practice. Right. And I got to get there by 5 o'clock, and basketball practice is over at 4:45. I got to run from Cornell Middle School all the way to Bethlehem Church. That ain't easy to do. Right. And I'm doing that at 12
after
years
suicides,
old, right? After all that conditioning. So when people don't know, like, why were you good as a young kid in sports? That's why. Well, I was already learning how to be a damn man at 12 years old because my mom needed my help. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I was struggling in school because I had ADHD. So my brain's all over the damn place. Right. I wish that I had gotten Ritalin because I will say I did, when I did get diagnosed, I took, they gave me Adderall. Now, I don't take it no more because I feel like now that I'm aware about what it is, I'm trying to learn how to just work within my attention span. I don't really like to take medicine and things like that. So, but when it hit me that I actually do have ADHD, I was at a yard. Now, you want to take pictures for Instagram. My Instagram is totally like only lawn care. Yeah. Some of my family, but only lawn care because that's what I do. But anyway, so I would get to the thing. I take before pictures all the time, bruh. And then I want to get to the next house. So as soon as we get done, we jump right in the truck, boom, and go. And I forget to take the after picture. Right, yeah. Because I'm so focused on the next test, right? And one day I'm out doing a leaf cleanup by myself, and I had just filled my prescription that morning for this Adderall shit. So I was like, all right, let me see what this is hitting for. Let me see what the hoopla is all about. So I took the little pill. I had the lowest dosage that they give you. I took the pill and I drive to the leaf cleanup job. I take the picture, right? from 8 different angles. I take the pictures from 8 different angles, and then I do the leaf cleanup. Took about an hour or whatever. I finished the thing. I take like 2 steps towards the truck, and I remembered, oh, let me take these pictures real quick. It still hadn't hit me yet, though. So I took the pictures from the exact angle of the before pictures that I had taken an hour earlier. I remembered every single spot that I took the pictures from. It still hadn't hit me. I drive home. I had a list of things I needed to do at home that my wife wanted me to get done. And when I got there, I parked my truck. I was unloading everything, and I could just remember, like, I got to do this, and this. And the sickest rush of emotions just came over me. That's when it hit me like, oh my God, I've been living my whole life at a disadvantage.
Right, yeah.
That I wasn't even aware of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I realized that, I was like, oh shit, like things are about to go, they're about to change.
And good for you for feeling like that. And then, like you just said a few minutes ago, realizing that it's a slippery slope with stuff like that too, and maybe not kind of understanding taking it every day versus taking it when it's most necessary.
I couldn't sleep, man. Yeah. I mean, I was the doctor when she prescribed it. She was like, she warned my wife.
Yeah,
like he is about to be running around the house,
right?
Like, so be aware, bunny. Like he's about to be doing all types of things. And I was like, nah, fuck out of here.
Right? Yeah.
So, bro, I swear to God, I took this. First of all, I was on 10. I mean, running around. You see that there's a famous TikTok where this boy said, I just took 30 milligrams, you know what I mean? This Adderall. Ask me anything. He grabs this cockroach and he says all this funny stuff. Yeah. But anyway, I was flying around the house. I had a list of everything I needed to do. And I realized, like, yo, I can't. I'm wide awake. You can take it 2 times a day is what she told me.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I was taking it like at 10 in the morning, and then if I took it again like at 4, then I was up all night. I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't sleep. I can't. So I don't even think I ever got a refill on a prescription.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I still have the original prescription that we first got.
Yeah, man. That stuff is powerful to say the least. Yeah.
I don't like Western medicine.
Yeah. You're more of a non-traditional
for like emergencies, but it's not needed for every day.
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree with you. So, how do you go from pulling that first weed outside your house to this huge business that you have now? I know that's a pretty broad question, but what were you doing at the time, I guess, for work?
So I was working 2 full-time jobs in a group home, taking care of people with dual diagnoses, like mental retardation or cerebral palsy, that type of stuff.
Okay.
Autism, Asperger's, that type of thing, and like working out. One of my boys, his name is Xavier. We worked together. He was my supervisor, and we was both like just laying on the couch every day at work. Fat, out of shape, you know what I mean? And one day I took a picture of myself in the mirror and I was like, yo, I look wild right now.
Gotta make some changes around.
I've been an athlete my whole life, and how am I 5'8"? I've been, 185 my whole life. I look at myself, step on the scale, I'm 220, and I was like, yo, what am I doing?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Damn, bro, what have you've lost yourself.
Yeah,
anyway.
Lost your mind. Yeah.
Right, so my boy Xavier, he felt the same way about himself. My man started, he's like a professional bodybuilder now, so he completely changed his stuff around.
No shit.
Yeah. Wow. So, but anyway, we was both like going to the gym, him and I would listen to motivational videos. So, at the time working them 2 full-time jobs, I I stopped listening to music and everything. I started listening to like things that's going to help me. Tupac and Biggie and all, they're great performers, but man, listening to that stuff was just like, and I ain't just talking about rap and hip hop. Trust me.
No,
I just mean everything. People's negative comments and negative attitudes, all of that stuff.
Distracting.
What's you're digesting is important and affects you, whether it's mentally or physically.
So I wanted to start listening to people who were giving off, positive vibes and telling you about what you could do in your future if you just believed in yourself.
Building up, not breaking down.
Right. And so one day I was listening to these things, and I stumbled across this guy named Keith Kalfas, and he was giving out the prices on what he would charge on this one job. And
he's a landscaper. I'm not familiar with him.
Yeah, he's a landscaper from Michigan.
Yeah,
he's just this regular dude. Same size as me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Everything
right.
else is like it was like looking at myself. Only he's a white guy.
Okay,
you know
all right.
But he grew up poor and changed his whole life around. And he was giving out this video that was like telling people, if you're trapped in a job, you can leave your job. Here's what I charge on this particular job. And he was going around, $50 for this, $100 for that. Long story short, he was like $245. It's going to take his two guys. He wasn't even going to be there 45 minutes to do this job. And I was like, what?
Yeah, right.
200. I was just like,
it's like what I'm making in a day or whatever over here right now.
No, that's double what I was making.
Yeah, right, exactly, right.
I'm like, how could this regular person... Because where I grew up, we watched football and basketball. We looked up to hip hop artists and singers and actors and actresses like those. So that was the only way I seen success was through being a celebrity. But then there's just regular guy in Michigan, and he's making $245. But I was just like, yo, this is crazy. So I was just walking around like, I can't believe it. At the time I'm watching this shit, I'm looking at this house right across the street from the one that I'm working in.
Right.
And it looks almost the same as the one he's doing his video on.
Yeah.
It was like God was telling me right now, like, yo, your gram taught you some shit when you was young and was just laying in there dormant. You never even knew that this was something that could make you money in the future. And because you have those skills, you're able to see what this guy's telling.
Right. Yep. And
I know I can do this shit because my grandmother had me doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he's telling me you can charge $250 for this water bottle. And I'm like, what the fuck? No way.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, I'm going to do this thing. Let me see if I can do it.
And I think what's the thing that sticks with me the most about what you just said is the fact of limited views of success you have sometimes as a kid, right? Or depending on your circumstances or wherever, right? The limited definition of success is probably the best way to put it that a lot of people have. And so is that something that you try and give game to as an OG now? Like I'm sure you got guys working for you now on your crew that are a little bit younger or something, like, or even around in your community or something. Is that something that you're passionate about on your show, or is it just something that you've kind of just started to realize as time has passed?
Well, I've always been a guy who wants to share whatever knowledge I get. Almost sometimes it's probably annoying to people because it might be something I'm just now learning. They might already know.
Right.
And it might be a redundancy to them. I don't know, but I don't really care because at the end of the day, I feel like we're put here on earth to share light. Right?
Awesome. Yeah,
you know what I mean? We're here on earth to be the light to someone else. And you never know. Like that Keith guy, he didn't know that him making a video was going to impact my life.
Change your whole life.
Change everything about what I'm doing and how I see the future. And he ain't know that. But he decided he's going to put this content out. And maybe someone will like it, maybe someone won't. So, I've always been, if I know how, I play flag football, right?
Mm-hmm. Still,
good
for you. Shit, I'm sore.
I just play quarterback.
Yeah. I hooped on Christmas for like the first time in 6 months. I go, I'm on the couch, bro. I'm retired. Right. Put my shit up in the rafters.
But I play flag football, and I'm not trying to say I'm great or anything, but we've been playing a while, and I know a few plays that might work. And so if I see a younger team, I'm like, hey, man, listen, you can run this play. You could do this.
Annexation of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, right. Bro, because at the end of the day, like, they have the same passion they wouldn't be out here on this field if they didn't care about just being around some sort of activity, right?
Right.
And I want people to have fun and enjoy everything that they're doing. So that's just something that's in me, I think. And if I have some sort of expertise that could help someone in some way, then I want to be able to share that.
That's awesome. Because, again, I think a lot of people can have gifts or talents or knowledge or wisdom or whatever you want to call it and not share them, and that's more of a disservice than not even going and tooling up that bag.
Man, I don't want to get to the pearly gates, man, and the good dude up there be like, yo, I put Ralph right next to you so that you could show him how to walk up this ladder, and instead you pulled it up.
Right.
Go where you need to go. Do you want that to happen to you? I know I don't. So I feel like, man, you never know what a word that you say to someone could do to them. And what that word does to them might do for the world. You know what I mean? What if the person that you discourage was the person that was going to come up with the cure for cancer?
Right.
But because you said some fuckboy shit to them, now they be like, I know I can't do it because, you know, Ralph said I can't do it.
Right. And that always reminds me, like, I love Coach Carter. You ever see that flick with Samuel L. Jackson? And he's got that the dude in it, he's got the speech about our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, but our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And I think that's what is perfectly about, like, people are scared to be themselves, show their light, share whatever they want because of 100 different reasons, you know what I mean? But I think the most one is lack of self-confidence in the fact that you could help change someone's life. That's not egotistical. That's probably the most selfless thing you could do for another person, at least in my opinion. But I don't know. I like it. A lot of light talk coming out of the port.
I love it, dude. Yeah. I've been saying that for a long time, that we're here to shed the light. Like, we're here for a reason. This isn't just, this isn't random. Even though it's a simulation, it's not random. It's still in place for a reason.
And I know you say a lot of the time, not putting words in your mouth, that's motivation for your yoga classes, what we do on here.
You never know where inspiration is going to come from. It could be some dude videotaping himself pimping lawns out real quick.
Yeah, right.
Or it could be someone like me doing a headstand at 250 pounds.
Or listening to you talk about being wild on an interview and then DM you, and now I'm stuck with him for life. So, luckily.
That's good. But you, like, again, you're put in a position and then you're given the option to make a choice. All right. And that choice that you make is either going to take you to success or it's going to lead you to failure. And so I decided, like, all right, what are the decisions that I have been making and how do I feel about them? Man, I don't really feel like a man because I'm working 2 full-time jobs and I'm never home with my family. So even though I'm working these 2 full-time jobs, they're still losing.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter about money. It's about the time that you spend with people. So I felt like I was, maybe I was doing good as being a provider, but I was failing as being a husband, as being a father, just because I wasn't home.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I got that idea from Dude, I started doing this, and I'm like, yo, I feel like I made it to the NBA. You know, or like I made it to the NFL now because I started something and it's given me a vehicle for changing my life, for changing how my family sees the world, for changing how my kids get to grow up. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's awesome. And was all that, were you always doing the podcast as long as you were doing your landscaping business, or is that something that came later? Because I got to imagine that all those feelings that you're talking about sharing knowledge, putting people on, whether indirectly or directly, had to be motivation to start the show?
Well, I mean, I've been doing lawn care. This is the 6th year. I've been watching that shit though for like 7 years,
right?
Before I started it, and when I see people, I mean, if they can do it, like if you guys can have a podcast, why can't I? But we just started it, me and my boy Cedric from Ohio.
Shout out Cedric.
Yeah, shout out.
Let's get him on next time he comes to town.
Yeah, at Still Cuts the Best. You can follow him on Instagram. He's my co-host. But we just decided, we want to help people. And so I've been helped a lot by people's videos, podcasts, and things of that nature. So why shouldn't we give our light to the world?
And you guys are rolling on YouTube, man. I mean, the videos look great. Not only that, they're informative. I mean, you can see it by the numbers are climbing. You know what I mean? So is that something? Did you ever think you'd be making videos and doing something like that?
Well, again, I watch those people, and I don't see. The cool thing about playing sports is I might not be able to dunk, but I could shoot threes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would see some of the people on the internet, I'm like, yo, I could do that. Like, even if they're making slam dunks, I could just start with layups, you know, those type of things. And so I was like, yo, I want to get on YouTube because if that dude helped me, I want to help people. You know what I'm saying? So I started the YouTube thing like on my own.
Okay.
And then my boy Cedric, I met him last year or the year before. And
like through the internet, like really,
through
okay,
social media. So I wasn't like doing social media or anything. But then how I ended up getting on social media was I had questions. you know. And around here, it's like everybody acts like you're in competition with them.
It is. That's how that's when I was running it in the early 2000s. E. White was my friend, but at the end of the night, he wanted nothing more than to see me fail so he could take that business over.
Right, and so people don't. I mean, the grass is not going to stop growing. And no one can cut it off.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So
there's room for everybody to eat.
Exactly.
There's so much room.
There is. And so, in the lawn care community as a whole throughout the country and the world is like that. Now, I didn't know that because I wasn't on social media. The world is really, really small if you don't expand your view. If you're not going to be a traveler, well, you can travel the world by being on the internet.
Yeah, for
And then
sure.
you can see how people live, how people think, and it will change how you think. If you've been in this small little bubble your whole life, like McKeesport can be for some of us, or even Pittsburgh as a whole. You only are here in Pittsburgh. You don't see the
wherever you are,
the different cultures, how different people treat you whenever you're in whatever area. You never get to see any of that. So, I was seeing these people on the internet, and I had questions, and I couldn't ask anyone around. They just didn't want to talk for whatever reason. There was one guy, his name was Gordon Cahill with GPC Landscaping. He was the first person I asked, and he was willing to help. So he took me to a lunch and was putting me down. It started to change a little bit, but I got on social media because the people I was watching on YouTube, they all had Instagrams. So I was on Facebook, but I wasn't doing anything with it. And I got on Instagram because I just was like, I need to ask this dude a question. I asked a question and they start answering. You know what I mean? I was like, I can't believe these people I've been following that got these huge followings. You know, they're like celebrities in the field that I'm in.
Sure.
But they'll actually talk to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was asking them questions, and then I ended up on a podcast and with Brian Fullerton. He has the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. I was on his, and then my Instagram just started to slowly grow.
Right.
After being on his podcast, and then people started reaching out to me like, I loved hearing you on there or whatever. And I was like, well, maybe I need to get into YouTube then.
Right.
I posted a couple YouTube videos, and I'm like, I only got 13 videos, but I already got 910 subscribers.
That's what I was looking at, and it's funny because you're talking about landscaping being a small world or super accessible, but I even feel like landscaping videos have permeated into mainstream culture just in terms of the satisfying video or whatever they call it. You know, people love the before and after.
Lawn. It's not just walking back and forth all day. People put stripes in there.
People love transformations, no matter what it is. If it's a person, queer eye for the straight guy. If it's someone who can't cook and now they can cook. If it's somebody's kind of overgrown lawn to something that looks dope, that's always interesting to people. I think is just that transformation aspect, because that goes back to what you're saying. It's like you can do. The lawn is a microcosm for life, right? It's just as much time and care as you put into it, that's what it's going to look like, or that's what you're going to get out of it, right?
I think that the reason that it's starting to catch a little traction, it's been having traction for the people who are already in it.
Sure.
But I just mean for
people who aren't looking for it, it's finding them now.
They're finding them, and the reason is because everyone thinks I can cut grass. Everyone thinks that.
Right.
And everyone can.
Sure.
No doubt. But can you make it into a business?
Can you make it look good?
Can you make it look good? And you can. I want to encourage people to get into some sort of service business, because the money in it is so good, and it can happen so fast. You know what I mean? I literally made my entire year's salary in a month one time.
Right.
From my job. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you can leave a job, you can make $100,000 in a year. You know what I mean? And that's all. And all from watching free things on social media.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So once you create a business and it starts to flourish somewhat, it makes you want to reinvest into the social media part, because I owe a lot of the success that I'm having in my business to those people who are giving out those videos.
And that's what I was just going to ask. Is that what your podcast is going to kind of be focused on moving forward, is giving that game, or is it more of the behind the scenes of the actual cutting and hedging and all that stuff, if you will?
So it's like a combination of both. My co-host Cedric, he was a software engineer and he left his job. So we're both that who we're trying to help, we were that same.
The living example.
Yes, exactly. But Cedric is really, really good with the production. He knows all of the scientific things behind, the mowers, the gas, the weed applications, weed and fertilization. He knows all of that stuff, like where he could tell you the real game on
the mineral levels and all that stuff. Yeah.
For me, I'm more of I'm like the fire and the desire. You know what I'm saying? I'm the guy who's gonna be telling you how you can do this. I'm gonna be the guy who's telling you, like, I was this way. If I could change, you can change, and like your future can be whatever you want it to be. So we're going with most of the podcasts that are in the lawn care game are a single person, and they're talking. Right. Where we're more so like fire and ice. We're gonna give you the cold hard facts, and then I'm gonna come with that fire and desire for you.
And do you do interviews? Do you bring other people on? Is it just kind of you two?
So we just started. We had 5 episodes out, and we wanted to give people. We wanted to let people like meet us. We talk about who we are. Kind of how we see things. But going into 2023. We do have some interviews coming. We're going to be doing interviews all through January this month, leading up to this thing called the Podcast Summit. There's a landscaper, like, the landscaping game is so dope. It's really like it's like a league. Okay, right? Yeah. So everyone has their own team, and then they come to the league, and the league is like, the conventions that we have. Sure. But we're not necessarily playing against one another. We're coming here to share strategies with one another. So it's like Bill Belichick is coming to tell you exactly how
there's no threat from a landscaper in Oregon, right?
So he's trying to tell you, he got 7 Super Bowls. Here's how you get 7 Super Bowls. Right. And that's what the landscaping community is about. Awesome. And it's beautiful. So the Podcast Summit it's the same way. For the landscapers who started podcasts, they're all cool. Like, they're all cool. And I want that to be something that people get from this, is like, be cool with the people who are around you. You're not in competition with no one else. Right. You know what I'm saying? Even if you have the same business, right? You got a podcast, I got a podcast. We ain't going at one another to try and steal listeners. Right. What makes you special is you guys. And then what makes us special is us. So all of the people in the lawn care game, they all share. They're all promoting one another. They're sharing trade secrets. They're telling us about the podcast equipment and everything. Right. And they want to help us succeed. And so this guy, Naylor Taliaferro, Paul Jameson, who has, I believe, the biggest lawn care podcast, they are in conjunction with one another, and they had this thing called the Podcast Summit. It's January 28th, and it's all of the different podcast people that are in the industry are all coming to this one person. His name is him and his wife, Caleb and Brittany Allman. They run Allman Landscaping in Ohio. They just built this new shop, heated floors and everything, and they're having all of the people who make podcasts in lawn care come to their shop. It's a free event, sponsored by I think Kohler Engines or something like that. So there's like free lunch and everything. And again, they invited us. We just started a lawn care podcast, but they want to help us succeed, and they invited us to come get podcast episodes done at this thing. So
is that a mindset you always had? Because I mean, you keep talking about being an athlete. I got to imagine you're a pretty competitive guy. And like, did you come into maybe not the landscaping, but the podcast space with an adversarial mindset, and you were surprised, or you kind of you always came in with an open mind, and it just immediately was no competition feel, really?
I just don't. Again, I don't think that there is competition. I think that we are battling not with the other people in the podcast.
Yourself. The battle's yourself.
And you're battling to hold whoever is watching or listening their attention. That's what you're battling. Yeah. So you're not battling another podcaster or you're battling, I guess, other channels maybe. Right. But it's not like you can only listen to my podcast at 10 a.m. and only yours at 10 a.m. and you have to make a decision. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It isn't like that. Right. So it's like, Yeah, there is no competition, I don't think.
And I think there's a difference between being competitive and viewing things as a competition, if that makes any sense, right? Like competitive, like you're saying, Ralphie, is wanting to improve yourself, wanting to improve your product, like always wanting to be better, evolving, as opposed to competition where it's like us versus them or something like that. And I think at least for me, like I'm a super competitive person, and that's a development I've had to make, that distinction between being competitive and viewing things as a competition, because I think that holds you back. Like it does. Like, I mean, the age old adage, what is it? Rising tides raise all ships.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
Or many hands make light work, whatever you want to call it. And so that's just something that I've always been trying to focus on lately, is you can be competitive without viewing things as a competition.
The competitiveness is with your mind.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I don't think that it's with any other person or individual. It's how do you see things? Like, so you're really in competition with the pessimist attitude versus the optimistic attitude. Yep. And if you choose to see things, I heard this guy, I'll always mention him on everything I'm on. His name is Jim Rohn.
Okay.
ROHN. I always got to specify that.
Yeah.
Not the guy on the sports talk.
Oh, yeah.
That's who I immediately thought of.
The Chris Everett guy. Like,
sure.
yeah. Call me Chris one more time. Yeah.
But you're battling with yourself. You're always battling with yourself. And he talks about a lot about like how personal development, like that's what gets you where you want to go.
For sure.
Learning and being fascinated in frustrating situations. Right.
Dope.
So what he says is you're on your way to the airport. Your plane leaves at 7. You're in traffic. It's 6 o'clock. You are now fascinated. You could be frustrated and beep the horn and be pissed off and everything. He said, but if you can find a way to make fascination out of a frustrating situation, you'll be better off, because you'll learn. Like, you'll learn from this thing.
Right.
You're gonna be pissed off and mad. You're gonna be like the bull who's focused on the red thing, and you're never going to see the matador. He's moving out the way and stabbing you with a goddamn sword.
Jesus,
you know what I mean?
Don't get any ideas.
So you got it.
I was thinking but cat with the laser
if he's
pen,
fascinated,
satisfaction.
If that same bull is fascinated, he's going to step back and he's going to say, "Man, fuck that flag.
Yeah, how do I not get stabbed this time?
I'm going to hit that guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
he's not going to move." Right, that's the thing, bro. I heard this analogy recently, where, again, this is like. We strive. We always in competition with each other, and what people don't understand is you are the only thing that holds you back, and the things that you allow to distract you. So there's this analogy where it says, if maybe you guys have heard this, Ralph might have since he's into yoga, but if you take 100 red ants and 100 black ants and you put them both in one jar, you put the lid on.
Cool till you shake.
Nothing will do they won't do anything. But if you shake that jar, they'll start killing each other. The red ants will think that the black ants are the enemy, and the black ants will think that the red ants are the enemy. They'll never stop to think, who put us in the jar? Because that's the enemy. You know what I mean?
That's dope. Yeah.
So, I mean, they got frustrated. They weren't fascinated.
Yeah, right.
And now they're all dead.
I got to tell you, man, like you said when we started, that this all started with you watching motivational videos and kind of wanting to do something similar to that for others. And you definitely have in this little 45 minutes, at least, that I've just met you. You know what I mean?
I hope
like,
so.
It's awesome to just feel how genuine you feel that. You know what I mean? Because I do feel you can see right through that shit if it's not genuine, you know what I mean? Because people are looking for that message. I think a lot of people are out there trying to better themselves or feeling stuck or looking for that first video that you watched that really inspired you to grab that weed and all that stuff. But so people can take advantage of that, and it's hopefully not hard for people to see that's not the case with you, you know what I mean? And
well, I try and tell people, like, look, man, I might say a lot of things. Some of it might work for you, some of it don't. You know what I mean? And take whatever works for you and use it to better yourself, or whatever, to help you in whatever way it can. And the stuff that doesn't, don't listen to it.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's pretty simple, man. Life is pretty damn simple. We make it a lot more complicated than it has to be, I think.
Hell yeah. I agree. Ralphie, anything you wanted to ask as an OG? I know you've been out of the game for a while. You were interested in stuff. We are going to do some landscape theme beat those cheeks, I think, but I did want to let you guys talk some shop. I mean,
I was going to ask, I don't know if it was going to be a beat those cheeks segment or what, but I wanted to ask, I haven't bought a new equipment in years. I've had the same Echo Weed Whacker since I retired like 10 years ago. And it fucking still starts up with the second pull. I've had the same Honda mower for fucking 175,000 hours, man. At least. The self-propel's been broke, but man, this fucking thing goes. It was, but like, have you, when I finally do get a new Weed Whacker, I was thinking of going electric. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean,
do you have any electric equipment, or is it still all gas?
The electric equipment is amazing nowadays.
That's what I was hearing.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And for homeowners, I would absolutely get
once a week.
Yeah, I would absolutely get electric stuff. You don't have to pay for the fuel anymore. There's a lot less maintenance required on things like that. But if you got something that's working, I would keep going with that.
But going for years.
The electric equipment is just like anything else. You know, the Tesla cars can last a lot longer than they could when they first came out. Mm-hmm. The iPhone 14, whatever, is way better than the first iPhone.
What type of decks do you got? Like 52 inches, 48 inches?
Pause. What do you mean by deck?
Deck, the width of
the lawnmower.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So I run Toro equipment. I got 2 grandstands, a multi-force lawnmower. For people who don't know, you can put different attachments on it. So you can take the deck off. You can put a mulch bucket on there that's hydraulically operated. There's a leaf blower attachment. There's all these different things you can do to make this piece of equipment more efficient and make more money for you. But that's a 60-inch wide deck. And then I have a 52-inch grandstand as well. And then we have a little 21-inch push mower, but
for inside fences and whatnot.
Yeah, but over the last 2 years, I've eliminated all the people who require push mowing because
I used to call them rat traps.
Yeah, well, it's just they're time traps.
And rat trap, time trap.
So for anyone who is thinking about maybe starting a lawn care business, like this whole thing is based off of time.
Yeah,
you know, you want to be able to do things as fast as you possibly can.
Make as much as you can in that time period.
Be as efficient as you can be to do it as fast as you can, still with top quality profession, and you need like really, really good equipment for that. But for regular homeowners, electric all day. You'll spend a little more on the front end maybe because the batteries they cost a little bit. But over the long haul, you're not going to spend as much money on it.
I'm going to replace, when that Honda mower finally goes, I'm going to replace it with the same exact mower. Yeah. It's lasted. This one will last. It'll outlive me this time.
Let's hope not.
You guys going to be doing like 8 hours a day. Me and Robin cut. I had like 80 lawns right before I hung it up. But
I think that's why Ralph wanted to talk to me. My boy Bob Belcher had this party we were at, and I hadn't seen Ralph in some years. And we were all just standing in a circle, and I was just telling him about, you know, the business, and it's really just a numbers game. Like if people just do the math.
Yeah, right.
And this is not just for lawn care. I'm just using lawn care as an example. This is for everything. This is business. So I grew up in McKeesport. We grew up in the damn crack epidemic.
Yep.
Right. That was people who were entrepreneurs who were capitalizing on
the market.
On the market that there was that.
Yep. The opportunity. Yeah.
The people who understood business though could transition the skills that they were doing in this illegal activity and translate it into a whole bunch of legal activity.
Yep, for sure.
Right now, as a young kid, those were the things that were glorified on the rap videos, and on the movies I was watching, all of that. I was seeing the life though. I wasn't seeing the business side of things outside of people having money and the flashiness. You don't know how they're doing that though. You don't know what their profit is or anything like that. But if you just have some imagination, you realize that everything is like that. Everything from McDonald's selling hamburgers to, you know, Elon Musk selling Tesla cars. There's a cost to make something, and then there's a profit.
Right.
Should be a profit off of that, and then you just do the math from there, right? How much if you got a $50 profit, and you do that 100 times a day, and you do that for 4 weeks, you got $20,000. Right. I mean, this isn't a hard thing. So if you look at these people that you look up to who are famous on social media, that's how they make the money. If you got 100,000 subscribers or followers or whatever, or a million, or if you're like Kylie Jenner and you have 500 million,
right,
create a product and put it up for sale, man.
Right.
You could be a billionaire in the blink of an eye if you have that following. So everything is a numbers game. That's it, man.
You're gonna inspire Ralphie to get back in the long game. I'm gonna lose my co-host,
so
and then you are gonna have some competition.
I mean, I'll never say never to that, but I'm no young kid no more. Like, it's still hard work.
That's the thing. Like,
don't get it twisted. And try to build something at this age. It all reflects upon good help. Good help is the number one thing. If you depends on someone that's down to show up every day, then we can make it work.
It depends on your goals, right? So it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to have a huge company, you're going to need a lot of people. Yeah. My goal was not that. My goal was to make enough money to live a comfortable life so that my kids would know what following your dreams looks like. Yeah. For me, my dream was only to have a family. I grew up broken home, single mom, dad in and out of jail, and I was all over the damn place. I was in 9 different schools before I got to high school. Even when I got to high school, we moved all within our area. You know what I'm saying? So I was never like in a stationary place, and I decided I want to have that for my kids. And then I was working 2 full-time jobs, gone in the morning when my kids wake up, gone when they go to, come home at night, they're asleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're asleep when I leave, sleep when I come home. And I was just like, yo, this ain't it. Like, I live in a pretty nice neighborhood. Those 2 full-time jobs, along with my wife's job, helped me out. They got us to where we were, but my whole life was just.
You're never at where you want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it really depends on what your goals are. So now I created a business. I'm home at 5:00 every single day, 6:00 at the latest. I never work on Sundays. And there's a quote, I say it a lot, but from this guy named George Bernard Shaw. He was a playwright in the 1800s, and he has this quote that says, the successful people in this world look around for the circumstances that they want, and when they can't find them, they create them.
Dope.
So my goals go right along with that, creating what I wanted, which was a stationary location for my kids and the people who are dependent on me to be able to come to, somewhere where we have the holiday vacation, the holiday parties, and someone who people can call when they need stuff, not all the time. You know what I mean? But, in those circumstances when people actually need help, they could call. Yeah. And we'd be able to help. And so, again, to go back to the goals thing, like, that was what my goal was. So now I met my goal, and it's just like, let's help other people.
Everything else is gravy now.
Reach whatever their goal is, because now I have everything that I want. Nice. It ain't even about money. It's just about the time.
Ralph, you weren't lying. You said he was going to come in here and get me all hyped up. I'm pumped. This is dope, dude. Like, I'm serious. It's like lawn care, doing the podcast, all that. I mean, I think you're here to motivate and help other people see the way. And like you're saying, chase your dreams, whether it's realizing that it's not always money, cars, fancy things, or anybody can do it, man. Like,
that's why I was happy like that. So another thing is, like, people got to be able to find inspiration, right? Sure. If you're an optimist, then you'll see things and you'll be inspired, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a pessimist, you'll see things and you'll be fucking mad, whatever. So I look at I'm so much of an optimist now because I seen what having that type of attitude get you, and I seen what blaming other people and having a pessimistic attitude get you. Right. And I really, really like the optimism.
Yeah. The grass is greener over here.
It really is, and people need to understand that. Like, you got to visualize the things that you want, and the name of your show, like, Anyone Can Do This show, is something that was like inspiring to me. Like, that's exactly how I feel. That's awesome. Like, anyone can do what I'm doing and cutting grass. And you might not be able to be LeBron James.
Right.
But you can go play basketball.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can still love the game.
You can still go to the park and play basketball. You just can't make the money that
Ralph
he makes.
can. He's washed.
Makes,
Yeah.
But like
I accept it.
anyone can do this. So when I see things now, I look to be inspired by things. And one of the biggest things, I say this a lot on our podcast, is the ability for young people to actually get good information that they can use for their life. Like we said, Ralphie said he hadn't used algebra in his entire life.
Right.
Right. And I couldn't see how any of that stuff outside of maybe history and grammar and English was helping me either back in the day. But now there's all of these people who are giving the game out for free. And a lot of the kids, at least in the lawn care industry, they get it, bro.
Right.
It is inspiring. Like it's really inspiring.
That's awesome. That's got to keep
you
you
gotta find
going,
the
man.
inspiration, man.
I agree, and it's got to be a tangible one, I think, because like you can look up to the playwrights from the 18th century to the LeBron Jameses, but like you can't touch any of them. You know what I mean? And you can't and even with the internet now and like people doing podcasts and shows like that, that's the way that you can go get that close to tangible thing. You know what I mean? Or just like your whole library, like. People would kill for the access to information that we have from computers and stuff now. You know,
there's really there's no excuse anymore.
Exactly.
So that's another thing. It's like hard for me to listen to anyone with excuses because we have this thing in our pocket all the time. This computer.
Yep.
That is everything. So before, to open up and expand your mind to the possibilities, you might have had to read all of the Encyclopedia Britannicas.
Yep.
And now you don't have to. You can just put that thing in and someone will read it to you.
Yeah.
You can listen to all of these things. And like for me, I learn better through seeing things. Right? Because I'm an athlete. So I watched Michael Jordan do that layup and I went and tried it. I couldn't do it like him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so you got this thing in your pocket all the time. Like use it. Use it. And people's out here baking cakes on the internet.
Right.
And that's what I was telling Ralph. And another reason to be inspired was you guys were already doing something that I wanted to do. Yeah. And then I see a person who's doing it, who I know since 7th and 8th grade.
Right.
Like, if Ralph can do it,
anybody can do it.
Right.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Look at this. Yeah,
It's
Ralph,
amazing.
you're going to fuck around and get replaced out here. So,
You can't. I'm one in a lifetime.
Amen
bro.
to that,
I'm
my
unreplaceable.
brother.
You could put someone in the position, but they can't take over the sauce.
You right. You can give them the recipe. They
You
can't
can
make
give them the
it
recipe,
right.
but they ain't season it right.
There you go. That's why you got me. I'll just write it down for you. Yeah. All right, Cornell, before we let you go, though, we do have two Beat or Beat Those Cheeks topic, landscape theme. We're going to do those real quick, do a little cutting up, and then we'll get you out of here. All right, so. All right, so took a little break, podcast magic, as we like to say here, but we are in fact back with our flagship segment, Beat or Beat Those Cheeks. If this is your first episode or you're just sleeping under a rock like Patrick Starr, you don't know what's going on, we take topics from the anybody's or maybe things that pop up in our daily life from our guests, whatever it may be, and basically we debate them here. If you don't like them, if you think they're whack, then things is beat. If you like it, if you're into it, if it feels just good enough, you're beating those cheeks. So we did want to do, thanks, I appreciate that. It keeps me going. Yeah, Ralphie's sick of my joke now. So yeah, he's 2 seasons in. Landscape theme today. So I did some research. I was perusing some things. I guess one of these I think was an age-old question that probably most landscapers get, and another one seemed to be maybe a little bit more specific to you guys in your show. So let's start general. And the way I phrase this is so we can do Beat or Beat Those Cheeks, but I think we do the classic, which do you prefer as a landscaper, summertime or wintertime? So I guess, are you beat or beat in the cheeks that summer is a more enjoyable time for a landscaper than winter? Cornell, we'll start with you.
So I have to say,
if you like summer, you're beating the cheeks.
Yeah, we'll beat the cheeks.
Okay, all right, yeah. It does get a little convoluted.
Yeah, but so for some people, I think winter is definitely better, and those people probably have a few plow trucks.
Right.
They probably have a whole bunch of accounts, and you can literally make $150,000 in a winter
just plowing,
right? You know, in like 2-3 weeks of total
work days.
Right.
You know
what I'm saying? You can really make a lot of money if you have that good setup. For me personally, I like the summer. I prefer the heat. over everything else. I don't mind being sweaty, but I hate being cold.
Right. Okay.
In the summer, there's a lot more things to do. Like there's a lot more income.
Makes sense.
Ways you can make income in the summer than you can in the winter. In the winter, you're restricted to basically sidewalks, plowing, and salting.
You gotta hope too it snows.
Yeah, right.
And you have to hope that it snows if your business is set up on a per push basis. So there's two ways you can set up snow, and you can either do it per push, or you can do it like they'll pay you monthly.
Okay.
Or some people even get a lump sum payment at the beginning.
And basically says if it snows, great. If not, whatever.
Great. If it doesn't, great. And if it doesn't snow this amount, you get this
X amount back.
Yeah,
right. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
So, but for me, in the summer, like you got, I do 32 weeks of lawn mowing. Then at the beginning and the end of each season, you have spring cleanups and fall cleanups. You got mulch installations in the spring and in the fall. You got aerations. You got fertilization and weed control. Shrub trimming, you got your regular landscaping things, hardscape, patio things. You got power washing, house washing, roof wash. Like there's an unlimited amount of things you can do within the landscaping space in the summer. And there might be a lot more that you can do in the winter. I'm just only familiar with those.
Right, and you're not messing with the cold, so you're not going to find out.
You do any Christmas lights?
No, I am deathly afraid of heights.
Really?
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. Hence the landscaping.
Let me tell you the story real quick.
That was something that fell onto my lap like the last couple of years I did it.
Mm-hmm.
People like, you want to hang my
it's a lot
crazy money for that, dude.
Yes.
Crazy money.
It's a lot of money. Now, I have no desire to get into it, and here's why.
How old are them kids? You got to throw them up there.
Yeah, I got a 16-year-old son, Malachi, 11-year-old daughter, Kalia, and a 3-year-old daughter, Selena. Selena runs everything.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So I live on a cul-de-sac, and up until last year, we had lights on the bottom, and we were like the only house towards the end of the cul-de-sac that had lights. And then 2 years ago, my neighbor Morgan moved in. She's awesome. Shout out to Morgan, and thank you for her service. She's in the military and she's a nurse, so she does a lot of great things.
Badass.
But one of the things she did was
sun you on the Christmas lights.
She put these lights up, man. So they weren't just on the bottom level. She also put them on the top, and it gets worse.
Oh no!
Hers are like LED
with the dancing and the music.
They can change
and shit.
colors and stuff.
She's outside.
My wife is on me, right? She's like, you got to put these damn Christmas lights on right after Thanksgiving, and I'm like, no, I'm not. We got plenty of warm days. Like, I'll do it another day. So finally, we put the lights up on the bottom. My neighbor, we come home. I go get my daughter from daycare. We come home. She got the lights on rainbow. They're flickering, whatever. My 3-year-old's in the back. This has video, right?
Yeah, of course.
So my 3-year-old's in the back. When her right hand, she's in her car seat, she goes, Miss Morgan. She's 3, right? She goes, Miss Morgan. She says all the L's is with a W right now.
Okay.
She's still at that stage. So she says, Miss Morgan has pre-whites. And I have regular whites.
Just right in the fields. Right in the fields, yeah.
You gotta get it together, Daddy.
Yeah, so you are getting it from all angles.
Bro, my little 3-year-old is wild. So no, to answer the question about the Christmas lights, I'm afraid, man. Last year I did put them up on the second level. Morgan still outstaged me because
it sounds like
she had regular. So
everybody.
This has been like she had regular lights at first. And they were just on the bottom too.
Yep.
And then she went to the regular lights on both levels. And then last year, she went with both levels with the crazy light.
Shit like that makes me want to move to the suburbs.
Yeah, bro. So last year it was my first time putting them on the second level, and I was fine. I was sitting on the roof, and on the second level. And it's only like 30 feet, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm focused. I'm on the gutter. I'm focused. I got the thing, I'm putting the clips on, lights.
At her all day.
Focused.
Yeah,
I'm good. Yeah. So for some reason, my wife decides to send my 11-year-old daughter, Kalia, out to check on me to make sure I'm okay. Like, if I ain't fall, you don't hear me. I'm fine, right? Yeah. And I was totally fine. And then my daughter comes out and she's on the ground. And now I look at her and now I can, the depth perception.
Yep, for sure.
Now I can see how high I am. Now my heart is pounding. And I told her after that, I said, nah, I know a lot of landscapers. I'm never going up on that.
Yeah. I got some friends. They can come and help me.
Long-winded question, but hell no.
Summer.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Rob, were you doing snow when you were doing landscaping?
No, I not
strictly
for
a summer
myself,
boy.
but we would work with Billy John's dad had an account with Citizens Banks, and me, Bat Boy, Billy John, he'd give us like a check at the beginning of the season for like $2,000 and another one at the end of the season. And anytime it snowed, 3 and 4 in the morning, we'd go with his Uncle Wayne and. They'd have the plow on the truck. They do the lots, and me and Bat would get out and just shovel the fucking sidewalk to the banks.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I'm always going to be beating the cheeks of summer over winter. It has nothing to do with landscaping.
Well, summertime, summertime is when you have more sunlight ton. So if you need to work the 12-hour day to get a mulch job, and you can.
Well, Ralphie,
it's fun, man. Like in the summer, I'm on a grass cutting go-kart all day.
Yeah, right.
Like people, that's another thing. Like once you get into any business, like if you are serious and you're committed about it, you'll just keep reinvesting and making things easier for you. So I don't know how you guys started out with podcasts.
Not with that.
Yeah. And so now you got this amazing piece of equipment. Well, it starts the same way. I started with a push mower, and now I have these
save up, get the walk behind, and realize the walk behind just cut your day.
Get the Best Buy gift card, kids.
Get 2 of them and a trailer. Yeah.
And once you have the equipment, it's like
it's easy. Yeah.
You walk around and visualize the Matrix, and you see all of those dots coming down, and that guy who's telling them where all of the doors are, he could see all of that. Well, now when I walk around, it's like I'm seeing the Matrix, but it's all money. And I don't mean that, like I said, I don't mean that to be greedy. I just mean like opportunity. There's all of this opportunity out here.
You know how to monetize it.
And I know how to monetize it. And there's so much opportunity out here, but we're walking around in the goddamn Matrix. And people won't unplug themselves long enough to stop complaining about all of the people that are doing all of this shit and actually do some shit.
Right. You have been hanging out with Ralphie.
Like, you just got to actually do something, man.
Yeah.
As soon as you do something, everything changes for you. You start to see everything differently, and then it becomes incredibly difficult to listen to anyone's bullshit.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I can't. I got no time for it, bro.
Right. Yeah.
I got no time for it.
That's awesome. No, because again, people distract themselves for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you talked about equipment. Ralphie brought it up a little bit, and I saw it on your guys' Instagram page. So we got to talk snowplows, I think, because you guys were talking about the difference between something that I've always noticed, and I never know what really the difference is: a straight plow versus a V plow. So you see those, I think, all over the place. I want to know, are you beating the cheeks of the V plow? Which is, let me ask a question first. Is that a newer thing, or is the straight plow? And we're talking about the plows on the front of the snow trucks. You see them all the time. There's 2 pretty distinct ones, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of one that looks like a backhoe bucket or just a normal straight across plow, and then one that kind of points at the top, looks like something out of Mad Max movie or something like that.
So, I'm a beat the cheeks on the V plow. I have a V plow, right. And the reason I went with the V plow is because it's just more, you can use it in more ways. Okay. So I do a lot of long driveways. And you just drop the thing into the V position, and it just parts like the Red Sea.
2 laps at once, almost, kind of, right?
It just goes straight to the sides. You go fast enough, it just kind of blows everything out. And then, but it can go in a V, it can go this way, it can go this way, and then it can scoop.
It moves. Oh, okay. I thought it was a fixed V. See, I'm getting
sick.
That is sick.
It's out there at the crib. Y'all want to get some video on it? I'll show you.
Okay, it's outside. Oh, dope. Yeah.
But, so the V plow has a lot of different options, and there's more than just the straight blade. There's also this new one that came out called a F14, and it's 14 feet wide, and it has like a straight blade, and then it has wings that go back. And these wings can fold all the way out, and they can be like this. They can do so many different things to make you efficient. But ultimately, it really kind of depends on how you're going to be using it. Okay. If you have a whole bunch of parking lots, you might want one of those gigantic 14-foot wide ones. If you're doing parking lots and driveways, a V plow might be your best option. There's also it's called a back drag plow that is on the back of the truck. Huh. Yeah, and those ones can be like, I think maybe 16 or 20 feet.
Shit.
Wide. And they have wings too. and they come out wide, and the people just back up full speed.
No shit.
Backing up with the plow, and it's like.
So that's gotta be, you gotta drive around in the snow, and you're that's gotta be a little fun too, right?
I will say this: depending on what type of snow business you have, bro, this snow is easy.
Right.
Like
Okay. All right. Yeah.
It's easy if you're the guy in the truck.
Sure.
So, and again, like the equipment that you have, it all matters. So how efficient can you be? The reason I went with the V plow is, again, how I was using it. It was the most
Oh, you good?
It was the most efficient way for me. And then last year I had like a tailgate spreader, which is you just clip it onto the back of a pickup truck and dump bags of salt in it. And this year I got a V-box, so it's like a bulldozer like dumps the salt into the back.
Sick.
And it's way more efficient.
Yeah, right.
Now, at the same time, let's say it was taking me 15 or 20 minutes just to salt a parking lot.
Yeah.
And now I'm salting those same parking lots in like 4 minutes.
Running through that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Pulling up and in and out.
You just drive out.
Yeah, one lap, see you later.
One lap, because it like how much salt comes out at one time and how much further it can be spread.
Sick. Yeah.
You just go straight down the middle and it shoots the salt all the way under the cars and everything. It's crazy.
I don't care who you are. Any dude is always going to be interested in something with a truck and a plow and some shit like that. You know
and
what I mean? Like,
I
don't know dick
imagined
about shit, and I'm like, that sounds fucking sick. I might need one of those for my Ford Fusion.
Yeah, I never imagined, bro. Ralphie knows me, bro. You know, all I did was play sports.
Right.
You know what I mean? I never imagined I would be doing. In fact, Eric Whiteman, who you mentioned, I was playing basketball, 14-year-old kid with his brother B. Whiteman. Shout out B. White.
Been on the show?
Yeah, he's hard. Yeah. He's my favorite, one of my favorite rappers. But I used to hang out with Brian all the time, and we be playing basketball, and all my cousins, everything. And I see Eric, pushing the lawnmower at the time. What is this boy doing? He's out. He could be playing basketball with us, and this dummy's out here playing sports.
Right.
He was no dummy. He's actually a hell of a businessman.
Sure is.
And he was someone who, if I didn't have such a childish, cynical mind back then, like he was someone who you could go talk to him. Hey man, how can I do this?
Game from.
Yeah. Because he would have probably wanted to help.
Showed us love for the show. Yeah. Absolutely invited us out there. So
he's the first person to introduce me to alternative payments. Like how you were saying earlier, like people pay you monthly and shit. I used to do per cut. Like if July would hit and it didn't rain and we skipped you for 3 weeks because your fucking grass is dead.
Yeah.
Like he's like, nah, you gotta charge him for that. And I'm like, this boy's sick. Good advice.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's all things.
They're more taking L's in August. Like,
and
it's Comcast. We need that same money every month.
Yes. Yep.
Whether I'm there or not.
Because people, that's another thing. Like when people get into business and they think it's just hand to hand.
Yeah.
I do something, you just hand me money, and it's not that. If you want to create a business, you got to operate how businesses operate. Yep. Businesses ain't just you. I mean, you can get cash from them and everything, but they got cash registers. They're keeping track of all of that. If you're just doing hand to hand transactions and you're not tracking all your stuff, well, what good is that? How can you learn and become a better business or business owner as you progress? Like, how can you ever know what like when is it time to buy something new or anything? You don't, if you're not operating a business. So like for me, it was like I look at how businesses operate, and I want to operate the same way a consumer would expect if they went to Chick-fil-A or Costco,
any big corporation
or something like that. So I don't accept cash anymore. We are straight card on file. For anyone who's interested in getting into lawn care, there's this thing called a CRM. It's called a customer relation management software where you can keep track of all your clients, all of their property information,
account info, all that stuff.
You do all of your invoicing through that, and it makes you look professional, like a business. Mm-hmm. And then once you do that and you look like a business, guess what? People treat you like a business. They don't treat you like the guy who's just cutting grass.
Right.
Because when I first started, that's how I looked at myself.
Yep.
Just a dude cutting grass. And now I look at myself like, no, I'm a business owner. And the customers respect that as well.
For sure.
They've seen the customers that I've had from the beginning. They've seen the progression. They've seen the terrible truck and the push mower all the way up to the top, the dope
V-Plow out there looking like Megatron.
And the trailer and all of the stuff that we have now, and how the quality has risen and how much more professional we are. And, and my employee, Captain Jack, shout out Captain Jack. That's his nickname.
Love that. Yeah.
Matt. Yeah. Shout out Matt, but, he's also seen it too.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, Cornell, I think people are going to keep seeing it, man, if you got this mindset. I mean, the way you talk about E. White, I know even in just this little hour we just spent together, I'll be coming to you to bounce ideas off of running game because again, you're talking about this in the landscaping sense, but you also do a great job of talking about it just in a general sense for people to make it applicable to anything that they're doing. Doubt. So for that, I want to thank you for joining us on the show. I definitely want to thank you, and this has been dope. I hope you'll come back and talk to us again sometime.
Yeah, never been in the studio before. This is awesome.
Us either. So don't tell anybody.
Let me y'all can find me Instagram Mac_landscaping 412. I got a YouTube channel. It's Mac Landscaping and Lawn Care. We do a weekly Instagram live show for anyone, but we generally talk about lawn care, motivation, inspiration, and education. It's called the Lawn Care Power Moves Instagram live show. We have guests on there typically every week. So I'd like to have you guys come on.
Oh, hell yeah. It'd be an honor.
And talk. And then,
PG with a good time.
Yeah.
And lastly, we got the Lawn Care Power Moves podcast with Mac and Steel. That's me and my boy Cedric with Steel Cuts the Best. Out there in Pinkerton, Ohio. We always say that. He's in Pinkerton, Ohio. That's so dope. We make sure we say
the mean streets of Pinkerton.
The mean streets of Pinkerton. Yeah. So that's where you can find me, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
this has been amazing, and I'll come back anytime.
And you're gonna have to teach Ralphie how to use Instagram Live because I sure as hell ain't gonna do that. So
I've never ever gone on Instagram Live.
Shocker.
Before.
Yeah,
never
it's
done
dope,
live.
dude. I did it one time.
You should do it whenever you do your yoga session. You should just go on there, talk, and show people because yoga is like a huge thing.
I know.
And lastly, before we go, anyone who is thinking about doing social media, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, or anything, don't just go on there and be willy-nilly and no one wants to see just your face every single day.
Right.
Everybody, I got dudes that I see who's my friends and they're just posting a picture of their face in the car, in the same position every single day.
For sure.
Who is that? What is that doing?
Not
Social
engaging.
media is about touching people and creating a community. That's the only way to be successful. So if you see a whole bunch of women, right? Any woman who's going to take her clothes off or anything is going to have community because there's a lot of horny dudes out there.
Yeah,
right?
for
Follow
sure.
nothing but big asses.
Right. Well, I'm just saying. So, but people look at that and they say this girl is showing her behind or her boobs or whatever. No, she is, but she's using that to create the community. The community is the horny guys. So I use lawn care. You create a community by teaching people things through lawn care because people like lawn care. They're going to watch the stuff that you make. So whatever it is that you like doing, whatever you have a passion about, I said to George, our boy George, who has reptiles and dogs.
Yeah.
Like my boy Captain Jack likes fish tanks. He does fish tanks. Film yourself.
Yeah.
Film yourself. Go on Instagram Live and only do that.
Yeah.
Show your damn dog all the time.
George did start a page just recently for just the dogs. Them dogs are the sickest.
They are, but you gotta build a community because the future of making money and making it fast and easy is not drugs like it was when we were in the 90s. Mm-hmm. It's getting on the internet, creating a community, and then being able to sell and distribute your own things as well as get market deals and sponsorships and things like that. Because just like you see, I used to say to people all the time, Lil Wayne can go get tattoos on his face because Lil Wayne is the brand. He's the corporation. Yeah. You want to go to, let's just use McDonald's and you want to go to McDonald's for an interview with tattoos on your face. They're not gonna want to hire you because you're not on brand with what they're trying to give up.
Right.
So if you create your own brand, you can do whatever the hell you want to do, and we're all a brand.
Yeah.
Just know you're a brand.
Love it. It's our community that probably includes at least one or two horny dudes out there. We'll see you next week.